last year you said your New Year's resolution was going to be to not look at the comment section. Is it going to be your New Year's resolution for 2026?
Yes, I'm still trending towards that. I mean, the obvious stuff, try to get in better shape, take this round stuff out of your face. Maybe, I don't know, drink less on the weekends, even though I don't drink that much, but maybe cut that down to zero drinking, stop with the fast food and all that. But yeah, looking at the replies is truly something that I need to stop doing. But I also, Derek, I
Yes.
also try to look at it in the mindset of why do you need a New Year's resolution when you could just start making that resolution before the new year? You don't need a new year to start doing that. So I don't trust myself. I still look at the comments everywhere.
So you're already setting it up where you're probably not going to do this resolution.
Correct. Until I really buy in. And I'm getting there. I have stayed off social media a lot lately. So I'm
Good.
just kind of, I haven't really been looking, but I think it's still going to be in the resolution rotation.
Yeah, and when the YouTube chat's like, well, you're not talking about the comment section here. No, I think what Steven's referring to is just when someone tweets something and seeing the replies, and usually it can either be filled with love or in the middle or hate.
Correct.
And I don't know. I mean, do you really have to see what people have to say about shit? Because I'll be completely honest, I don't care. And I'll give you my own resolution for 2026. I need to start caring less about what people think when it comes to me. Because I'll be honest, like doing this whole new job of being on air, it definitely got to my head. And this year, I need to not care so much about what's said on Twitter or the text line, any of that shit. It is what it is. And I need to honestly embrace what I'm doing a little bit more as well. But when I say that, I mean, like, I'm on the Niners station. I'm on the Giants station. That's my job. That's what I'm doing. I'm talking about those teams. I don't have to be a fan of those teams. I think some people kind of get on me about that sometimes. But that's my job, and I enjoy it. But when it comes to comment sections, like, I don't know. Who cares? Like, either it's going to be people that are supportive or the complete opposite, where people just are full of vile hatred.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more of that. X is just, it's taken a totally new turn. Like this whole site that's built by Elon, I got a bunch of people who I don't even follow. I'm just seeing their posts nonstop. Even though I hit the latest button in the following section, then the people who I'm following, I don't even see much of what they write. I just see a lot of who are the people that pop up, and I have no problem with this. But a lot of my feed is Dieter Kurtenbach,
okay,
and Kyle Madsen, and
they like to tweet a lot.
They do much closer with Kyle than I am with Dieter. Because I've just met Dieter a handful of times, and always, well, not a handful, more than that. I always just say what's up in passing, and we just kind of crack jokes, whatever. Whereas Kyle, I know a little bit more, but yeah, I just see it's a lot of those two really are on my feed lately. And then Dr. Narav Pandya.
Yeah, well,
that's my man.
All three guys need to give their 2 cents all the time. Which, that's part of their job. But, I don't know. I think I've tweeted less in the recent years, just because I don't know. Like, is Twitter unique anymore? Like, we're all just saying the same thing during a sporting event, and that's why I like to wait until the game's over to have a take. But honestly, like, is there anything like we're all saying the same thing? It's all just a village of sports fans, whatever we're commenting on, saying basically the same thing at this point.
Agreed. And I mean, like, for example, I think why Kyle just keeps on tweeting it because he's very creative and always has newish things to say. Whereas a lot of people, it's just nonstop, redundant, whatever. And I don't know. I definitely don't look during live games as much anymore, though. I could say that as much. I don't. It's just It's too much. Like tweeting in the middle of a Warrior game or a Niners or Raiders game. I just think some age horribly because you got to wait till the end. Like, I'm not like calling anybody out here, but if you're saying like a player's dragging ass and then all of a sudden at the end of the game, they might make the play that saves it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the point of tweeting that out before? It's like, oh, this guy's been a no-show so far. And then I don't know, like Puka Nacua, for example. It's what if you're talking about that with last night's game against the Falcons and how Puka really wasn't living up to the Puka standards, and then has a game like he had, or a possession he had like at the very end where he made a catch that should have been a catch. I don't know how that was incomplete. I understand that he lost control of the ball, but he regained control. So I don't really know how that wasn't a complete pass. But anyway, point being, it could be the worst. It could be the best. I don't know.
I don't see it as the best anymore, to be completely honest. I think that you and I have had these conversations where it used to be fun, and now like the algorithm and everything, like unless you tweet about a team and the hashtag's not involved, then does your tweet get seen? I got a prediction for you, Steven. I honestly think by the time that you have the baby, you will not give a flying fuck about social media anymore.
Yeah.
So when it comes to a comment section or anything, who cares? I think your sole focus would be about that baby.
I agree.
And then sports in between because that's your job.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the baby's going to be number one on the priority resolution list.
Well, the podcast and the baby, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, podcast number one, baby two. Right.
There you go.
Got it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We're coming to you midday afternoon because I just got wrapped up with the morning show I was doing with Greg Silver.
Wow.
Yeah, fun, I guess, to do a little morning show. I mean, it's fun to work with Greg Silver, and now I got the day to myself. But man, I don't know how you people do this every day. It's tiring.
You people.
Yeah, you people. You morning show people.
How we do it, we just do it, man. We just do it because it's our job. It's what we're paid to do. I have a question.
I may have an answer.
Can you call hot chocolate if it's frozen?
No.
Because I walked by a sign today. I did my little daily walk after probably around like 11-ish. I tend to leave the studio and I go for just a half-hour walk. I got a routine now, at least after I'm done with reports and stuff. And I'm walking by Jamba Juice, and I saw a new sign that said, now serving frozen hot chocolate.
That's
like, frozen hot chocolate. If it's frozen, then it ceases to be hot chocolate.
It's an oxymoron.
It is. It is just your average chocolate malt as far as I'm concerned. Frozen hot chocolate.
Well, what is that? It's frozen hot chocolate? Like it's chocolate on a stick? Or what exactly is that?
I think it's in a cup. I mean, it's Jamba Juice, so I'll assume it's in smoothie form. But it said frozen hot. I'm like, that's an oxymoron. Or whatever the term is to use that. I think it's oxymoron.
Yeah, it would be an oxymoron.
It don't make any sense.
No.
Frozen hot chocolate is not frozen hot chocolate. Once it's frozen, it's done being hot.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of a tall, short person. I had to stop myself there for a second.
Right. Yeah. What's the point? Anyway, I don't know. I've been watching Seinfeld lately, so all these little Seinfeld things pop up in my head. What's the deal with frozen hot chocolate?
Yeah, I guess that's a Seinfeld thing. Kinda. Frozen hot chocolate. I've never seen that before. Where was this? Jamba Juice?
It was Jamba Juice. Haven't
been to a Jamba Juice since the 90s.
Since the 90s?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
It's been a long time since I don't know. My mom used to go to Jamba Juice all the time, and I haven't been since that, probably.
You're missing out on the old razzmatazz, Derek. But
the razzmatazz.
Frozen hot chocolate's a new thing, and I really wanted to walk into the store. I'm not going to, but I wanted to walk into the store and just say that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Jesse says, then what do you call melted ice cream? Well, it's not ice cream then. It's just goop.
It's just a smoothie.
Yeah. Well, no, smoothie would be
milkshake.
ice cream. Yeah, a milkshake. Yeah, you're right, Steven. And milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
But you make a milkshake using ice cream.
Yeah, so but it's when it's melted down in that form, it's a milkshake.
I mean, you need a little. I guess you need a little bit more. It's more than a milkshake. It's a thicker milkshake, a thick shake.
Yeah.
Or just
Anyway.
cream. Or just cream. There you go. Just take it out. It's cream.
Yeah. I guess it would just be cream. Huh. We're solving all these mysteries in life right now. So anyway, Stephen and I have not done a podcast since last Tuesday before Christmas Eve, and we haven't had time to react to any of these amazing Christmas Day games. As Stephen predicted, they all sucked. All of them. The Lions game, God, what a way to end the season for the Detroit Lions, where you thought maybe if they win that they have a chance for the postseason, but 6 turnovers. Good God, Jared Goff just pissed down his leg with the season on the line against Brian Flores. Flores knows how to throw, just a blitz at him that makes him extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The Cowboys Commanders game was meh, and the Chiefs Broncos game, I guess, was close, but just not entertaining. So, Steven, I think you nailed it. That we will have Christmas Day games going forward, but all the games just were terrible, and all featuring backup quarterbacks too.
Yeah, they blew. I didn't watch any of them.
Fair enough. No, that's what we were watching at my house. We weren't watching when I was watching with my family for Christmas. Didn't really watch any of the NBA games. I had Warriors and Mavericks on the laptop in the background, but not that entertaining to me. I know that, people don't like the fact that the NFL has come in and taken over Christmas Day. And I was defensive of that a year ago when LeBron was like, hey, this is our day. I get it. For the longest time, the NBA has owned Christmas.
Sure.
But I would just tell, NBA fans or everybody, like, you think the NFL cares? Like, they're not. So it is what it is. There's going to be more games. Next year it'll be on a Friday. They'll probably have 3 games. So we might not get the best, games out there, but the best products. But it's going to happen. I would say just accept it at this point.
Sure, but I think we can all laugh if the games that they have scheduled turn out to all be stinkers and you have,
of course,
second or third string quarterbacks, teams out of the playoffs when the NFL just thought they were going to take over the holiday. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the case is that, and I think I don't know what the ratings were, but I think maybe they did. Who knows? But I haven't even checked. But yeah, I think it's just inevitable. Like, it's going to be where every Christmas now they're going to move the schedule up for teams. Like, even though it'll be on a Tuesday in a few years, they're going to do that again. It's just going to happen. So I hope it's a good product. I want it to be compelling games, but when it's games this late in the season, you have to come up with a schedule in May. It's bound to happen where guys are going to get hurt. You're not going to have Mahomes. You're not going to have who else missed the game, J.J. McCarthy or Jaden Daniels. It's just bound to happen where some of these games are going to be stinkers.
Yeah. I find the Lions' downfall fascinating because there is something to this Trump dance in sports, which has turned into the downfall of these specific teams. The first being the Detroit Tigers. After the Tigers did, I think it was at Yankee Stadium, they did the whole, the Trump dance as a celebration at first base, and then they ended up coughing the 15.5 game division lead that they had in July, and the Guardians took over and capped off one of the most historic comebacks that we have ever seen, at least in terms of a division race. And then the Tigers went on to lose in the American League Division Series. And then we saw the Lions do that exact same thing. And now they're closing at the time, they were looking like one of the better teams in football. And we're having that conversation, Derek, about how maybe we got it wrong about Dan Campbell and this offense didn't skip a beat, even though they changed coordinators. But ever since Amon-Ra St. Brown did the Trump dance celebration, well, things have gone downhill from there. It's interesting how those two things correlate. It's very much a coincidence, and I don't believe
I would say so.
I don't believe that just starts the downfall of a team, but I do find it funny.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that much.
Nah.
I think it's just the Lions having a hangover from a year ago where they were, 15-2, and I think the case with the Lions was their offensive line just got beat up. Frank Ragnow retired. Their interior offensive line, you can just get after Jared Goff that way, and yeah, they missed Ben Johnson 100%. And I think that I don't know if Kelvin Shepard was a bad defensive coordinator this year, but just they sustained so many injuries. But it could be onto something, Steven. It could be the curse of the Trump dance.
It was in Washington Stadium, and from there I think they lost. Where are we at? Yeah, 5 out of the next 7, and only beat the Giants and the lowly Cowboys. And other than that, ended up losing to Packers, Eagles, Rams, Steelers, and then, of course, most recently, the Vikings.
So all better teams.
All much better teams, yeah. Correlation, Derek.
I see. How was your Christmas, Steven? Besides watching the NBA, how was it?
I mean, it was great.
Nice.
Didn't do anything.
Just sat around, hung out with Jesse's family and your family?
Well, Christmas Eve went with Jesse's family. Christmas Day was just us two. And then on the 26th, a.k.a. Boxing Day in English and Canadian culture, we did that at my brother's house. But enjoyed the last one with peace and quiet and watched the entire volume 1 of Stranger Things, season 5. We started it at pretty much after the Warriors game was over, which you could really turn off after the 4th quarter. I think it's pretty funny how the NBA scheduled that game. They were so blinded by the Klay Thompson and Warriors reunion, just trying to fit the Warriors into any of that schedule. And the best they could come up with is the Dallas Mavericks, who stink. So,
well, I get it with Klay coming back.
Sure, but the team stunk, so it didn't make for a really fun Christmas Day game like we've seen with the Warriors and Cavaliers in years past. And then, we managed to make it through Stranger Things, man. It's good times.
Yeah, we haven't done Pop Culture Catch-Up in a while, so I haven't started Stranger Things. And again, shouldn't react to what people say on social media, but apparently people are saying this is the worst season so far, and yet we haven't even got the final episodes, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So I don't want to think spoil, but what's the big bugaboo when it comes to this season?
It's the writing.
Should I just wait until I watch this thing?
No, there's just too much going on for them to make it fun like it used to be.
Yeah.
The actors just, I don't know. There's a couple of them who stand out, but they've made, I think the heart of the show at season 1 with Winona Ryder, she was great, but then I think her kind of character arc has just been fading and fading with each season. Millie Bobby Brown has just got crushed on social media just because, she's gotten older and I don't know.
What is that, Botox in her face or
I don't know what it is, but I feel terrible for her because that's just awful.
Well,
and
AJ
like
Cruz, I said, dude, it's a village of idiots.
AJ Cruz is saying the right thing. Mike is practically useless at this point, and Mike was the main kid character in the first seasons, and now he's just kind of a side piece. And I don't know, it's just way too much going on. And also the writing, it used to be they wrote it, but the characters didn't have to explain what they were doing with each scene. And nowadays it's just every episode they're laying everything out, and what they're calling it is second screen script writing, where they are writing their scripts because they just assume that most people watching it are sitting there on their phones and half paying attention. So they have to describe every little thing that's happening. So yeah, it's just, I remember we sat through all 5 episodes, and at the end I was just like, that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to reserve judgment till I watch it myself, but that's the overwhelming, I guess, opinion that I've been seeing on social media when it comes to the new season of Stranger Things.
Yes.
I finished Pluribus. Good little first season. Very different than I think a lot of shows out there right now. So I'll continue with that when the new season comes out. I watched the new Knives Out movie. You seen that one yet?
Yeah, Wake Up Dead Man.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just alone on this one. That character that Daniel Craig plays just kind of annoys the crap out of me. I got to be honest.
Why?
Just really over the top. He's like, I do declare, I got to find out what's going on with this gang of Christians that go to this church, and got to find out what the mystery is. And I need you, Mr. Priest, to solve your own murder that you've been accused of. I don't know. I'm like, okay.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo didn't do it for you?
Scooby-Doo made me laugh, but I don't know. It was better than the second one, which I thought was like, we get it. All right, we get it. You're making fun of Elon Musk. We get it. This one was just like, okay, I'm not really buying the whole, the priest accused of murder would have to solve his own mystery, and then when he's arrested, the arresting officer of Mila Kunis is like, but by all means, confess, and we'll let Daniel Craig, the detective, have the floor of what he thinks happened in this mystery. I don't know. I'm just kind of over it.
Yeah, I get it. If you don't like Benoit Blanc, then you're not going to like the series that is centered around Benoit Blanc. But I happen to like the character, so I enjoyed the movie.
Fair enough. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I just think it's kind of over the top now.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's great.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, Benoit Blanc.
Yeah. I don't know. Just kind of over the top a little bit.
Yeah. It kept me guessing, I was locked in.
All right. Okay, let's talk about some football. So, should we start with Raiders or you want to start with Niners?
Oh, God. Let's just...
Oh, God, that's a mystery in itself. What happened with Maxx Crosby? Did he leave on his own accord? Or does the franchise have something else planned?
Maxx Crosby has Papa John's as a sponsor in his workout gym. What does that mean?
I guess we're going to start with Raiders then. So Raiders lose the matchup of the teams with the 1 seeds. Hold on, Steven, I need a tissue because I've been just dripping this whole time we've been talking about it. It's disgusting. Do you mind? I know, it's gross. You also lost in hot sauce, so you might be dripping yourself with your own mucus. But just give me your thoughts on the Raiders losing to the Giants and now in the driver's seat for the 1 seed while I get a tissue.
I wish I could give you a astute analysis of what actually happened in the game, but that game was just so meaningless. All right, now we're alone. Let's talk some shit. Derek is so wrong about the Knives Out movie. That character's awesome. I don't know why he's hating on that. Okay, came through dripping, drip. Raiders. I got to be honest. I know we use that game to, we use the Raiders as a way to talk about them game by game, but that one, like, I had that on in the background. There's other stuff going on. I was building this nursery. I had the Raiders on in red zone, really. Like, that's what it came down to for me. And what I find more interesting than the actual game where, yeah, it sucks for Gino that he got hurt and the ankle sprain is obviously going to keep him out for the next week. But I just think the Raiders are just so far out of sight, out of mind for everybody that they just don't matter anymore. And the whole thing with, I'm more interested now in the Raiders in 2026. I'm more interested in what their next head coach is going to be, who their next head coach is going to be, if Pete Carroll is in fact on the way out, because we're hearing murmurings of that. The Maxx Crosby future thing, like Jay Glazer or whoever had that. Who was it, Glazer or Rappaport?
Yeah, Glazer.
Just saying something that I'm sure is a pretty common argument that happens with players and coaches. Like, hey, dude, we don't need you anymore. So just sit this one out and save your health for the next season because these games don't matter. Then Jay Glazer tagging that tweet off, and now the future is uncertain for Maxx Crosby in Las Vegas. So I'm more interested in that. Like the game against the Giants, I really don't have much to add.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot to say with the game. And apologies, I've been battling kind of a cold here, so excuse me. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the game, all that. I mean, I'm not gonna act like I pay attention that much to the game. I had it on the other TV while the Bills and Eagles were going on.
Yeah,
and what it says is that the Raiders by far are the worst team in football, and they deserve the first overall pick. If you lose 34-10 to the Giants, then you deserve the first overall pick. And, the Giants have had some interesting moments this year. The Thursday night win against the Eagles, their other, victory against the LA Chargers. But they've had glimpses of a good team here or there. They, took the Detroit Lions to overtime.
Right.
But they should not beat a team 34-10. And if that's the case, the Raiders have so many issues. And looking back on it now, it's the dumbest take in the world for me to believe that the Raiders were capable of winning 10 games and being in the playoff conversation. But that's kind of the hope we got at the beginning of the season when Pete says, we're going to win a lot of games. And I guess I got to stop just believing that every team's going to be good when we get into training camp because, we watch NFL Network, you're so hyped for the season and everybody's doing interviews and you think, oh, this team could be good. This team on paper, you see this team in preseason. And just the truth is, the Raiders were bad from the get-go. Yes, they beat the Patriots week 1. In hindsight, they got lucky with that game with a few bombs that Geno Smith threw to Trey Tucker. But drafting Ashton Jeanty in the first round, 5th overall, 6th overall, whatever it was, yes, he's going to be a good running back, but God, they need so many things. And once again, I keep bringing this up, but to go after Geno Smith with a 3rd-round pick, they were trying this year. They were trying to win. They were trying to change the culture with Pete Carroll. That's why they got this guy. They wanted to be like the Patriots or Liam Cohen or anything you can think of right now when it comes to going from worst to first. But I guess I just didn't account for how much they truly need. They're that bad. They try to fix the defense with veterans who are washed up and rookies, and the offensive lines remain the same. And they really didn't have any true playmakers at wide receiver. So instead of just trying to fix this thing in the offseason, as the Tom Brady era has got underway with the Raiders with, well, if we just get a really good quarterback or just a better quarterback than what we've had in the past, then things are going to change. No, they need to start from scratch. And I think Geno Smith's going to remain on the team as the bridge quarterback, but they need to draft a quarterback for the future, whether that's Dante Moore, whether that's Fernando Mendoza. We'll talk about that once they get the 1st overall pick, and we'll have a ton of time to talk about the draft in the offseason. But, yeah, the Raiders need this. And honestly, watching this game, not intently, but just seeing the outcome, 34-10, I have said multiple times this year, yeah, the Raiders are bad, but I've seen worse Raider teams. And I've been thinking about it more and more. Like, I remember going back and forth with Bonte on social media where he was like, this is by far the worst Raider team. And I'm like, dude, you forget about 2006. But when you think about it, 2006, yes, the defense was historically bad with Art Shell and who was it? Tom Walsh was the offensive coordinator who ran the bread and breakfast before he came over. That offense was putrid. And I think it's kind of similar to what we've seen this year. The defense was good. Really good, actually, with Nnamdi Asomugha and Derek Burgess and Warren Sapp. That defense was entertaining to watch. It was just the offense was all-time terrible.
Right.
This season, this team is equally bad on offense and defense. And you and I have watched really bad Raider teams. We've seen them go 4-12, 5-11, 2-14. And this year, they're probably going to go 2-15. We'll see what happens the last week of the regular season against the Chiefs. And this Chiefs team, I don't know what they're playing for at this point. Maybe pride with it being Travis Kelce's last game in his career. But I thought to myself, is this the worst Raider team I've ever seen? And we've seen a lot of bad teams. But honestly, the way they've been blown out consistently, yeah, I think it's on the table that this might be, since you and I have been watching games, this might be the worst Raider team we've ever seen. Do you feel that way, or do you think like, nah, it's so hard to have this season stick out from other ones?
No, I'm kind of with you, but just also based on the expectation. Like I think you're kind of beating yourself up and saying that you're the only one that thought that this would be a turnaround. Let's go back to everyone at the beginning of the season. There were some who had question marks about Ashton Jeanty and them drafting him 6th overall. And I don't really know what else they could have done in that spot. Like, I don't know. There's not a lot of players who stand out. Like, I guess Armand Membu has been pretty good for the Jets. Kelvin Banks Jr., I've seen him get crushed with the Saints. I don't think there's any offensive lineman that would have made me feel better about this team moving forward. I'm fine with the Jeanty pick, honestly. Like, I really am. But there's others who questioned what would happen along the offensive line, and I get that. It should have made a little bit more about this patchwork defense that they put together, because you mentioned that they brought on a bunch of nobodies, and I thought they were a bunch of guys who could maybe revive their careers, and when they were seemingly lost. Like, I was sold on Devin White after both him and Pete Carroll were just talking about things at practice, and I was sold, but then completely got off it. throughout the season, realizing that he's just kind of the same Devin White and he's just a shell of what he once was. The Jamal Adams thing didn't really excite me. Even Jermaine Pratt, I was like, ooh, well, they're not able to pay Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart. They're in this whole thing. So they're doing this just because they have to. But it turns out that he couldn't do anything for the Raiders either. It was just such a mess. But again, I think based on like the expectation, yes, this is the worst Raiders season because they're getting dog walked every single Sunday. And it's one where Jeff Pearlman, who is my favorite sports writer, or at least maybe favorite author, I guess, but not so much sports writer because I wasn't really reading sports columns when he was a columnist for Sports Illustrated. But he made a post the other day. He's a Jets fan, and he made a post talking about the Raiders, and he just does not understand how people can still root for this team, even though they have failed you and told you to your face that they don't care about you and are still slapping you in the rear saying, look, we're going to move. We're going to take this team elsewhere. All we're going to care about is money. We are going to make our stadium a destination just for NFL fans. And it's all true. It's just there's something about this team. I don't know what it is, but again, throughout the season, I haven't had a Raiders team that made me question, like, what the hell am I doing with my football life?
He's saying that as a Jets fan, huh?
He is saying that as a Jets fan.
That's interesting, but also at the same time, the Jets have never moved, so I understand that aspect of it.
Yeah,
and
he also talked about like he hates fans who defend this Raiders team, and I do too. Like I don't know how any fan can defend what product they're putting out on the field right now.
Dude, I felt this way for a long time, where I felt like an outcast. That 2018 season, where you and I were kind of mocking the team, where you dressed up as Gruden on Halloween, and I dressed up with the Khalil Mack jersey with the axe through it. And people were like, yeah, good for you, man. Fuck Khalil Mack. And I was like, you're not getting this costume, are you? That's not what we're saying here.
Right.
It just I understand that, and that was a fun day. But I understand like AJ Cruz or Rockin' New Era in the chat saying sometimes like, well, this team won't change until Mark Davis is not the owner anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I hear you. And believe me, I'm not one to support Mark Davis. But I don't think he's done anything wrong besides moving the team to Las Vegas, which is not what I want to see personally because I love the Oakland Raiders. But as far as the moves, how could you not go along with John Gruden? I was down for that. I think that maybe I was buying into nostalgia, but come on, man, it's Gruden. I was all over that. Afterwards, I wasn't down with Rich Bisaccia being the head coach. Josh McDaniels... Yeah, I mocked it initially on this podcast and said it's not going to happen. And then when they pulled it off, I was like, that's the right move. That 100% is the right move. And then it wasn't. And then Antonio Pierce, I wasn't really down with him being the interim head coach. But then he went 8-9. And Maxx Crosby threatened the team saying, if you don't make him the head coach, then I want to be traded. So his back was against the wall. The fans wanted it too. He's like, all right, I'll do this for all of you. And then if you're wrong, I'm firing him. And that's what happened. And then Pete Carroll, yes, I would rather they hired Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel or Liam Cohen or everybody that's thriving right now. But Pete sounded good just because of the fact that they needed to change the culture. It was the same thing with Bob Melvin. It just sounds like an adult in the room. So I never want to defend Mark Davis because I don't like the guy. But I don't think he's done anything wrong as far as picking a head coach. But everything that we read now, Ian Rappaport is suggesting that it's going to be surprising if Pete Carroll comes back. But I do wonder, with the Maxx Crosby move of shutting him down for the remainder of the season, was Pete involved in that decision process? So you brought it up, Stephen. Saturday, or maybe it was Friday, the announcement came out that Maxx Crosby is going to be put on IR. He's been dealing with a knee injury for the majority of the season, and he will not play in the remaining 2 games. This is after the fact that Maxx was asked about the game against the Giants. Potentially the loser is, inclined to get the first overall pick. And he was like, I don't give a shit about that. He wanted to play. You have to admire Maxx Crosby for this season, how it's played out. Him always, people suggesting that he should leave the team, he should demand a trade, and he always goes with the flow. And there's 2 wins, and he wanted to keep playing. He wanted to fight his ass off until the very last game of the regular season. And they told him, look, it's in the best interest of the organization that you sit out and get your knee worked on immediately. And he was like, fuck that. Fuck that. I put my body on the line every week. I'm going to do it for the last 2 games. I did this for 16 weeks. You're going to tell me now to go home? Fuck you guys. So I understand why he was upset. And he went home and put videos up on social media of him playing basketball, suggesting that he was not that injured. And then it became a big thing with Jay Glazer reporting about it and everybody else. And our guy, your boy Q, who follows the Raiders in Vegas, said this whole thing's not that big of a deal. I don't know who to believe at this point. I think that Maxx was pissed, but I don't think it's to the point where they're going to trade him in the offseason. Now, what's interesting to me is, was Pete a part of this? Because if it is, the brain trust of John Spytek, Mark Davis, and Pete Carroll, then does that give you some kind of indication that maybe Pete's returning if he was in on this decision process? Because if it's a decision for next year, then shouldn't that be an indication that Pete's going to remain? Or am I reading too much into that?
I almost looked at it the other way.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was like, if Pete's involved in this process and he's pissing off Mark Davis's golden child, a.k.a. Maxx Crosby, well, then Pete Carroll's on his way out. I had the opposite thought. I didn't think, oh, yeah, this means Pete Carroll's sticking around for next. Like, maybe Pete Carroll has that in his mind that he's sticking around for next season, but I don't think it's a guarantee that he knows that he'll be beyond this year. I do think that it was a collective decision. I'm sure, especially John Spytek wants a chance to pick first overall, or at least have that first overall pick in his bag in case anyone wants to trade. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like Fernando Mendoza as a quarterback and trades down, but I don't know. I had the opposite thought. Pete Carroll's making this decision and Maxx Crosby's pissed to where people think that he wants to be traded. Well, who do you think Mark Davis is going to put on his priority list? It's going to be Crosby over Carroll, I'd think.
Yeah, but I think that I asked Mike Silver this today when he was on with me and Greg Silver about does this decision give you any indication that Pete may return or he's going to get fired? He said, I have to look into who actually made this decision because it could just be where Mark tells both guys, look, it is what it is. We're not going to turn things around the last 2 weeks of the season. It doesn't really matter at this point. It's in the best interest for us to get the number 1 pick. So we're going to essentially tank these last 2 games. And if that's the case, where they're having that conversation, then I think Pete would have to be like, okay, if I'm going with the flow here, then I have to believe I'm coming back next year, right? And if that's where Mark is making that decision and Pete's going with the flow right now, that kind of sucks. Where if he's going to be on the chopping block, he's not able to, I guess, defend himself and trying to win for this year. Like, remember when Lovie Smith tried to win or did win that last game of the regular season and they lost, giving the Bears the first overall pick? That essentially cost him his job. So I think when the owner, the GM, and the head coach are in unison on a decision for next year, then maybe the coach should be back next year. But I don't know if that's the case right now. It sounds like, if I had to guess today, Pete Carroll's going to be fired, which is disappointing because, again, another coach. It's ridiculous how they go through these head coaches, and it's another one that you thought could compete with the other Hall of Fame coaches in this division, but it's not going to be the case. So, I don't know. To me, it's interesting where maybe it's a decision that John Spytek is making. I wonder how Pete's reacting to this behind closed doors. Maybe he's like, damn, I better be back if we're just throwing these games here. But I don't know. It's interesting to me. I'm waiting to hear. Mike Silver told me that he's going to be writing an article about the Raiders this week, and his intention is to find out whose decision it was to shut down Maxx Crosby for the remainder of the season.
We haven't gotten a podcast, have we?
From Hondo?
From Crosby.
Oh, no, I guess not. I don't know.
We haven't had one yet. Like, he hasn't been made of it. I want to hear Crosby's side of things. And I think he would actually be candid in a new podcast episode that he does and kind of open up. Because I think, I don't know, maybe fans don't deserve anything, but I think fans are owed that type of explanation, because that type of vague, kind of cryptic tweet, it just took a turn to where it's like, okay, they're having an argument over whether he wants to play or not. And then it turns into, oh, Maxx wants out of there, or they're going to, his future is uncertain in Las Vegas. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I think Pete's just going to be on his way out anyway. I really do. Whatever it is with the Raiders, it's just not working.
Yeah.
It's just not. I don't really know what else is. Even if he gets a win this last week of the season, that doesn't repair any of the damage that's been done to his reputation as a Raiders head coach. Like, I think the decision's already been made, and they're just waiting till Black Monday to make it.
Most likely. And I think that it was awkward a year ago. Remember when we were doing a podcast the day that Black Monday happened, and Antonio Pierce did a end-of-the-year press conference saying, I haven't been getting any indication that I'm been fired. My thought process is I'm coming back here. And he kind of left it a little vague where he was like, I haven't talked to Mark Davis, haven't talked to Tom Telesco, but I think I'm coming back. And then I was like, that doesn't mean anything to me. It sounds like he's just on no man's land right now, and he's just waiting. And then Tuesday happened. He was like, nah, yeah, you're gone. So it could be the same thing with Pete, where they told him, yeah, this is going to be what we do the remainder of this regular season, no Maxx Crosby. And he's definitely not been told he's definitely coming back. I don't think that's been reported anywhere. At the same time, like the Raiders could have put out a statement along with the one they put out when Maxx Crosby was shut down for the season and left.
Right.
They put out a PR statement saying, this is the best interest of the team. We look forward to 2026 with Maxx Crosby. Basically, trying to say, like, all teams tank. This isn't that big of a deal. Maxx is kind of being a little too much with this, and we look forward to having him on the roster. We're not, our intention is not to trade him next year. At no point did they say we are going to bring back Pete Carroll for being the head coach of 2026. So
I go back to him and Russell Wilson too. When Russell Wilson was rumored to be leaving the Seahawks, and God, he said something, Pete said something where it insinuated that they weren't going to move on from Russ, but it's not like he completely shut the door on certain questions. And I think we
have no intention of trading Russell Wilson at this time.
No intention. Sure. Okay. But this one, when he's saying, I haven't been informed of anything. Yet. So I think he left the door open for a potential departure. I don't know. It might not happen Black Monday. I mean, that's just kind of a designated time. I don't know, unless they just want to start the immediate search for new head coaches. But I don't think you make the decision unless you know who the next guy is going to be. Because I think Mark Davis is just, I think each time he's done the same thing that the Raiders kind of did with Derek Carr, where it's like, okay, you're going to let him go and do this whole thing at the end of the season, but what's your backup plan here? Who you're going to go with next? And I don't really think, I think they assumed that Tom Brady would be available. And instead you had to go with, or Aaron Rodgers. And instead you had to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. So unless they have a surefire backup plan, then maybe they shouldn't just release him for the sake of releasing him. Cause right now I'm getting a lot of these suggestions. Bring back Lane Kiffin. Chip Kelly for head coach. Might as well rehire him. Thank you, Tacky.
Oh, sorry, guys. He's already got a job as the offensive coordinator for Northwestern football.
AJ says, bring Gruden back. And I knew about Brock first. Says, Freddie Kitchens. Or Nicolas Cage dressed up as Madden.
We need to get to that later because the trailer came out for the Madden movie that's coming out next Thanksgiving. What? You don't like it?
No.
We'll get to it later. I don't know if they have somebody in mind, Steven. Maybe Robert Saleh, because he was offered the position of coach in waiting as defensive coordinator. But I don't know if Saleh is going to be, jumping at the opportunity to be Raiders head coach. You know what name I'll throw out there? I think that he'll be grateful for any job he can take at this point, and he has connections to Tom Brady. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Flores gets an opportunity to be Raiders head coach. Obviously, what happened with the NFL a couple of years ago when he was fired from Miami, he sued the league, citing racism as the reason he wasn't getting opportunities in some of these interviews. The Rooney Rule and everything, I think people just brought him in to check that off the list.
Right.
And that's what's been the reason why he hasn't been hired in the NFL as a head coach. He went to Pittsburgh for a couple of years. He's done amazing as the Vikings defensive coordinator. I just wonder if we'll get another opportunity. I think the Raiders would be kind of that renegade franchise to be like, yeah, we'll make you a head coach, and Tom Brady can stand in the way of Roger Goodell once again. But I could see that happening. I wouldn't be surprised if they go that route.
And then after all that, Tua allegedly said that Brian Flores, the way Brian Flores treated him, yeah, Flores and Fernando Mendoza, perfect match.
Well, I think Mendoza can handle it a lot better than Tua.
Maybe.
And I think we're kind of figuring out that Brian Flores was right. Now that Mike McDaniel's like hit the bricks, Tua.
Yeah. Maybe he was. No, I'm not mad at that. I thought you were going to go Brian Daboll.
No, I think Dable's going to be a coordinator again.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith.
All right, let's move over to the 49ers, a much more pleasant team to talk about these days. And, man, what a thrilling game. 42-38 over the Chicago Bears. And right now, dude, they are humming as an offense. And before I talk any further, Steven, it's time to do some hot sauce.
Oh, shit. Hang on.
What do you got? What do you got, huh? What you snarking on?
I don't got anything. I forgot about the hot sauce.
Well, okay. Now I got a tap dance for your ass.
Yeah, you do. Just, talk some shit. I'll be right back.
All right. So the 49ers. I haven't talked about this team enough lately. All right. So, dude, I mean, the way that Brock Purdy was able to overcome that pick six, and I thought it was, the Bears and their opportunistic defense right away, setting the tone for the game, and then it just flipped. Brock Purdy was able to go down the field, score a touchdown, and it just kept going. I think they scored after the pick six. They scored on 6 of 8 drives after that, and it looked like, the exact same thing from Monday night against the Colts. The way that the 49ers offense is rolling right now, it's reminiscent of 2023, and it's better than 2023 in my opinion. What?
It's just Jesse's like working from home and she's in a meeting and I just have to come and open the fridge door so I can grab hot sauce for a podcast. It's funny.
It's very funny. But yeah, dude, just the way that the 49ers offense is humming right now. Do you think this is better than what we saw in 2023?
No.
Really?
I do not. I think Purdy's playing better than he was in 2023 in these last few games. But no, I don't think the offense is as good as it was in 20. I think Purdy's better. I don't think the offense is better.
I think it's better just because mainly because of Purdy. McCaffrey's looking like himself again from 2023, especially this last game where he's able to run for 43 yards and get over 100 yards rushing in back-to-back games.
There is that. I'd really have to see a lot more if I want to.
Well,
like that 2023 offense, man. I think we kind of took it for granted with how lethal it was. Like, what was it? Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, and George Kittle all totaled over 1,000 yards, which was like the first time it's ever happened in NFL history where 2 wide receivers, a running back, and a tight end put up those numbers.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it shows that they don't need those receivers to be a successful offense. It really is McCaffrey and Kittle, and they can find pretty good wide receivers on the outside or better wide receivers to be man-to-man coverage. Because those guys, let's be real, I've talked about it ad nauseum. Those guys were not good in the Super Bowl. And that's why Kyle wanted to go out and get Ricky Pearsall, and that's why Juwan Jennings will never be a $30 million wide receiver. But he's good in this Kyle Shanahan offense. I think it's just different. I think they're definitely scoring at a faster rate where they're averaging 36 points per game. It's the first time that they've gone back-to-back 40-point games since 1995, 30 years, when Elvis Grbac was the quarterback for the 49ers, filling in for Steve Young. So it may not be that the offense is better than it was in 2023. Brock Purdy is definitely playing at a higher level than in 2023 now. But I think it's just the urgency. I think Kyle realizes, I know what I got in my defense. I'm not stupid. I understand that this defense can't stop anybody. So I got to score every chance I fucking get. And that includes, did you catch this, Steven? Where after they got the go-ahead touchdown with Juwan Jennings, Brock Purdy holds up 2 fingers. I watched this live, and I was like, whoa, are they going for 2 to make it 43-38? That's insane. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So in real time, I was like, are they doing this? And then they kick the extra point, they go up 42-30. I'm like, okay, it's it's a little more sane here. Then the next day, I go into the studio and get audio for the show, and on the call, Tim Ryan acknowledges it, and I'm like, what was the thought process there? I think I would love to talk to Kyle this week, and unfortunately, we won't be able to. But I would ask him, were you trying to go for 2 there to make it 43-38? Were you thinking that maybe Ben Johnson was going to go for 2 to make it 46? Where I'm trying to rationalize it, where he's so aggressive, Ben Johnson. He's talked about the game that he would have gone for 2 against the Green Bay Packers a couple weeks ago. But was he trying to make it where if he goes up 46 or 43-38, then that puts the pressure on the Bears to have to go for 2 to go up by 3, and then if they don't get the 2-point conversion, then maybe they can win the game with a field goal. I don't know. It's complicated as fuck, but I do think Kyle was thinking about it. And it's just because of the defense alone, how he really can't trust his defense, how he needs to score in every possession he has, and that's where Chicago ultimately lost the game by having to settle for a field goal in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
No, that was a lot of what I just said there, but
yeah. God, okay. Well, getting into the game.
Yeah. Sorry, the 2-point conversion thing has me fascinated, but yeah, go ahead.
It's fascinating. What's fascinating?
Dude, I'm a football nerd like my dad. Where like if I see that stuff, I'm like, what's your thought process there? You're going for 2? Why? Why you doing that?
Well, it's interesting. Like, why would you do that though? Because I did think the same thing. I did see that when he held up 2.
Yeah.
Rock on, Brock on,
baby.
I did see that after he got through his, 7th consecutive Dougie. And but I also wonder, like, why would you do that? But
yeah,
getting back to it, like the difference though, like with 2023, like is this, I think that's very broad, right? I mean, is this offense better than 2023? I don't know. Maybe you're picking apples and oranges here. It's like, asking which Warriors team was better, 2017 or 2018? Which one would you rather have? I don't know. Like
2017.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? But and there could be one on that, but I think the difference here though is the 49ers, regardless of which one was better, and this is Captain Obvious reporting for duty back again, but they clearly need the offense to perform at this level. And you talk about that sense of urgency, and maybe why that 2023 was more impressive is because they didn't really have that sense of urgency. They were just that damn good, just rolling through teams. Right now, I think where Christian McCaffrey is, I don't know what the hell to say, man. Like McCaffrey, I was so wrong about just the impact that he could have at this point in the season. How could anybody? Like when he's getting to the second level, right? Like getting to the what the hell was that? That 46-yard run. You're not supposed to be bumping like it's a pinball machine, just bumping through the Bears defense and exploding like that. Like Christian McCaffrey, you're not allowed to do that. The human body shouldn't be grimacing as you go to the sideline and then going back in like nothing's happened.
Quit stalling. Eat that fucking hot sauce. Let's go.
All right. No, okay. Hang on. But so yeah, I guess like that's why I covered it.
Whoa, that's a coat.
Yeah. Oh. All right.
You working tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
Oh, God. The flail.
Oh.
Wow, don't punch yourself. Good Lord.
That was way worse. I used this veggie snacks.
Yeah, that's not going to help, man.
Shit.
No, you need a minute? Okay, I'll talk. Yeah, dude. I mean, the way that Brock Purdy's playing right now, they're using him like Lamar Jackson out there with the QB options, the pull read options, where he's running the football. He's so mobile right now, and his decisive nature with the football, that's what's setting him apart from Mac Jones when he played earlier this season. And I think it's a very good point to bring up that I'm sure when he was out for 6 weeks, it was equally good and bad, where he saw Mac Jones operating this offense, and people were talking about how maybe Mac Jones is the better option for this team, even though they just paid him, and that was a ridiculous thought to have. And I don't think that Brock believed in that. I think it was just when you see somebody else do your job at a very effective, rate, and then you're like, all right, I can do it better than them. And he's probably just locked in on football the whole time. He's rehabbing his toe, and he's just ready to play football. And I think that it's made him a better quarterback. It's made, I think, the national audience respect him even more now, where years ago, even during 2023, Dan Orlovsky was talking about how Mac Jones could do the same thing. And it's funny how we saw that this season. But now, because of the schoolyard play, and even though that Brock Purdy has had numerous nationally televised games and playoff performances and played in the Super Bowl, I think this was the first time where, thanks to Chris Collinsworth, where him having that play where it's Spider 2Y Banana on the left side, Juice is running with him. He knows he's going to throw to him, but the linebackers are coming up to cover Kyle Juszczyk and also run with Brock Purdy. It's kind of he's doing a little okey doke where it's like, hey, am I going to go? Am I going to throw? Am I going to run here? Then the very last second, he throws it. And when Chris Collinsworth, I know we make fun of him, but when he goes, oh, come on now, like, here's a guy in Brock Purdy where this is Patrick Mahomes, we're going crazy. And of course I would. I'm glad he acknowledged that, because I think that changes the narrative for him, where he's not just some system quarterback. He is a really good quarterback. I'm not going to say he's an elite quarterback, but he is the franchise quarterback for the 49ers right now. He's a damn good quarterback, and he knows what the hell he's doing. In relation to Caleb Williams, who is very good and was picking apart the 49ers defense, and the throw to Luther Burden was amazing. The Aaron Rodgers-like play where the 49ers were off sides and he just heaves it to Colston Loveland in the end zone. Very impressive plays. Very impressive for him to get outside the pocket, and a lot of off-script plays. But a lot of the time, too, when it is off-script for Caleb Williams, he freaks out. He's frantic.
Right.
And he misses on throws. Case in point, that final drive, honestly, we're talking about the 49ers and their great performance and winning that game. The Bears probably should have won that game with the one throw where the 49ers blitz, and Caleb Williams goes to his right, and he's throwing off schedule, throwing to Devin Duvernay, and he just misses him. And even Chris Collinsworth was like, if he catches that, he's gone because he's that quick. He had a wide open receiver, and he just missed him. And I give credit to the offense. They had an amazing game, but let's be real about the defense right now. It is a problem. And I don't know if it's sustainable for them to win this way, but I thought it was more so the Bears running out of time compared to the 49ers defense making a huge play in the end. Give you enough time there?
Yeah, I agree. It's the thing that was so reminiscent too, when you're talking about Caleb versus Brock. Caleb is making plays that are just more where he's physically gifted, and you're like, my God, look at that arm strength. Or, my God, look at him just drop that into the breadbasket, right? But Purdy is just consistently, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, just consistently making the game look easy. Like, even that play in the end zone, it sounds like they're talking about me in their meeting. I don't like it. Even that play in the end zone, like you mentioned the okey doke, like even that, it was just like smooth, it wasn't offbeat. It was like jazz. And it's just play after play when he's in rhythm right now, like beforehand, even last season when he was in rhythm, it didn't look like he had a lot of conviction with where he was going with the ball. But right now it's just nonstop. And I really think he's kind of inevitable right now, where, the same logic that Pete Carroll used for Geno Smith, thinking Geno was going to get that much better because he hasn't had that much mileage put on him because he's been sitting on the bench for his career. Well, maybe with Purdy right now, we're seeing him kind of hit mid-season form where he's been hurt so much and now he's been back for a few games. Maybe we're seeing that, and that's beneficial to the Niners. I was confused on that last play. So they spiked the ball. It was down at 5 seconds. They spiked the ball.
After the hook and ladder?
After the hook and ladder. They managed to spike the ball.
Great play, by the way. Great play.
at the 2-yard line. Am I wrong? I think this, whenever there's a situation in which you can run the ball, and with how much Caleb Williams was throwing downfield and how discombobulated the 49ers defense was, I don't know, man. Calling a run play might have been the answer there.
How much time was left?
It was literally 5 seconds. Like, it was just one play.
Well, that's tough.
I don't know, man. I think you run the ball in that situation.
You put it in shotgun and have the defense. So do you know the original call? Tatum Bethune was talking about this in the postgame where initially the call was a blitz, and they got blitz between D. Winters and Tatum Bethune, and they called it off at the last second because they knew that Caleb was going to scramble. Had they blitzed, they probably wouldn't have been able to tackle him. So they stayed in coverage, and that's where he freaked out. As soon as Caleb Williams was backtracking and going to his left, I was like, he's not going to make this throw.
Yeah,
it's not on point. He's not in a smooth mindset right now. He's so frantic. It could have been cool. It could have been like the touchdown he threw to number 20 against the Green Bay Packers where they needed that 4th and goal. But I could tell right away that he was not going to make that throw. To run the ball there, I hear you. That would have been a very Ben Johnson Lions play. But if they don't get that, then we're killing Ben Johnson this week.
Yeah, I know. It's pick your poison, right? Like you can go with the aggressive pass play or go with just like a conservative run where you just hope they could beat them at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack. I don't know. I thought that would have served them much better. I've seen this 49ers team win so many times just based on these late game calls. Why not mix it up? I don't know. Also, there was a play that Ben Johnson wanted to have back on that field goal drive, and I do have to give him a lot of credit here. I really like this answer from him because I think we've mentioned it on the podcast, the way that he talked to Aditi Kinkabwala that one time, and we're just not sure how receptive he is to criticism. Well, couldn't be any more wrong on that.
Coach, I want to go back to the field goal drive. I know that the run game wasn't prolific, but it was efficient. When you guys got down to the 10, and hindsight being what it is, I know you had the middle screen set up. What'd you like more about the passes there as opposed to the run?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm not very out of that whole game, that field goal drive. Once we got in the res, I wasn't very happy with how I called that. 100% right.
He acknowledges it's a good question. He also doesn't answer the question. And I think that's equal parts respectful of Ben Johnson, but also him being pissed off that they didn't score on that drive. Because he knows if I settle for a field goal here, I might lose the game. And sure enough, they did. Yeah. Something I've noticed, I don't interview a ton of head coaches, only one. But when you phrase it a certain way and you ask him what were you thinking there, instead of just like, basically saying you fucked up, if you just talk X's and O's with a coach, they'll respect that. Like even Mike Tomlin a couple weeks ago was asked, what's your philosophy with certain coverages? And he was like, I'm not going to answer that question. I respect the hell out of that question, but I'm not going to answer it. Right. I think Ben Johnson is a really good head coach. And it was beautiful as like a football nerd when you appreciate good offensive play calling. It was like boxing. It was like a chess match between Kyle Shanahan and Ben Johnson on Sunday night. It was reminiscent of a year ago where the two coaches went at it when the Lions played the 49ers on the Monday night game and Ricky Pearsall had his coming out party. So it was just unbelievable to watch. And yeah, it was which offense is going to break, as I texted you. And sure enough, it was the Bears just selling for a field goal. And some people asked me the last 2 days doing these shows on KMBR, do you think the 49ers were going to go for it when it was 3rd and 7? They didn't pick it up. It was 4th and 7. They punt the ball to the Bears. That's where the Bears take the lead 38-35. And I'm like, no, I think Kyle is aggressive now, way more aggressive than he used to be, but he's not crazy. He's not insane.
Right.
But as far as the offense right now for the 49ers, do they ever screw up? Do they ever have a false start? Do they ever have a legal shift?
Barely.
Do they ever have a legal formation? No. Yeah. Kyle just has them playing at an all-time level because he knows there is no margin for error. They cannot screw up. They cannot turn the ball over. And they did on the first play from scrimmage. But besides that, they have to be perfect offensively because the defense is a problem. And we have to acknowledge they did this without George Kittle. Jake Tonges filling in once again and having a great game. I thought the play of the game, honestly, was the 3rd and 6, converting on that drive where they scored the go-ahead touchdown, 42-38, where the pockets, breaking down for Brock Purdy. He has to move around a little bit, and at the last second, he finds Jake Tonges. He turns up field, and he gets the first down. That was huge. If they don't get that first down, then maybe the Bears get the ball back and they score a touchdown. It's 45-35, game over. 49ers can't come back in that situation. Yeah, dude, I think that right now, Brock's playing at an all-time level. I think that McCaffrey's looking like 2023, and I think Kyle is honestly separating himself from most play callers in the NFL because he's just so freaking aware of what defenses are doing. As McCaffrey said in the post-game show or the post-game press conferences, his knowledge of what defensive players are doing on their assignments sets him apart from other play callers. Even some of these best defensive coaches, Dennis Allen, Lou Anarumo last week. It'd be interesting to see if they play the Philadelphia Eagles and what Kyle could do against Vic Fangio. But Kyle, and again, he grew up learning offensive football from his dad. He's on a different level right now than I think Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, all these great play callers, all the other guys that you lump them in as far as the Mike Shanahan guys.
Right.
And I overlooked it real quick. Trent Williams also going down with an injury on that first play from scrimmage, hurting his hamstring. That could have an impact for this week against the Seahawks. But yeah, the fact that they were able to, give up just one sack the entire game. Kudos to the offensive line, Austin Pleasants, for filling in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, it's always the next man up thing. And you're right. They do not make any mistakes. And I think the other team knows that. I think the other team fears that, knowing that they are going to be playing a buttoned up offense. And I can't even remember. I mean, granted, now the 49ers did get away with a couple of calls or non-calls in certain situations, like the phantom pass interference on the Bears defense. Like, I don't know what the hell that was, but
which one, on the pick or?
Yes. Yeah. On the interception.
Yeah.
I believe that was that's where they called defensive or illegal hands to the face or whatever it was. I can't remember what even the call was, to be honest, but it's just, even when things go wrong for the 49ers, they seem to go right. And I think what the key is that if the other team sees an opportunity where they actually make a mistake, they have to capitalize on it, because it feels like the 49ers capitalize on any mistake that the refs make, anything that might go their way. I mean, we saw that 2 games ago on Monday night where, Brock Purdy ends up a strip sack, forcing a fumble, but didn't turn into a fumble. Luckily, they recovered it. Could have been a lot worse in that situation. However, with the defense, though, I'm kind of going off topic, but with the defense.
Yeah, no, this is it's a big talking point right now.
Yeah. I don't know how much I'm going to believe in them as Super Bowl contenders if they don't win on Saturday. Like, if you don't win on Saturday, you're probably going to get the 6th seed, unless, barring some crazy miracle, the Cardinals end up beating the Rams, even though the Cardinals are one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
Because in that situation, the 49ers are getting the 6th seed, and then from there, you're traveling to the cold of Philadelphia or the cold of Chicago, and Chicago fans are going to be rowdy out there because this could be their one of the last few times they get a chance to do that at Soldier Field if they end up moving somewhere else. If and when they end up moving somewhere else, I guess it's just a question of where. And again, you don't want to. I know the Eagles. You don't really fear them right now, but I just don't think they're a team you want to play in the playoffs, because you just.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that.
What?
They're just. I know offensively. We'll get to it a little bit more later, but if it's the 3-6 matchup, I think people are sleeping on the fact that the Eagles don't score a ton of points. They play defense, though.
Right.
And I don't know if the 49ers can score 40 points a game in the postseason. It's a different animal.
Yeah, exactly. So they got to win this Saturday. If they win this Saturday, then I'll feel much better about their chances, because who knows, man? Like, you're seeing that clip of Bonte rolling around. I know that you are.
I haven't actually.
Yeah, he's speculating, gut feeling, that Fred Warner could come back by the divisional round. Just a gut feeling is what he's saying, a hunch.
Yeah, I do not think that's happening. I think NFC Championship game, I don't think he's coming back for the divisional round.
I think okay, well, either way, they could get Fred Warner back, and you only have to get one win if you can potentially get your star linebacker back on the field. I'd feel a lot better about it. But yeah, Saturday, it's going to be a tough game. Like,
oh yeah,
I know this home field advantage thing at Levi's Stadium is killer, but look what the Bears just did. Like, they just rolled through the defense and had no problems.
Yeah, see, that's the thing where home field advantage would be incredible to get the number 1 seed with everything that they had to go through this season.
Yeah.
At the offseason, it's a salary cap dump year. It's a competitive rebuild. And the injuries, we talked about it ad nauseum. I bring it up every time. There's not a podcast we've done where I don't mention Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. And not to mention Michael Williams, not having Brock Purdy for a good deal of time, and George Kittle and Ricky Pearsall's in and out every week. But for them to be in this position is unbelievable. And I wonder if 49er fans should get greedy now. Should they have expectations of Super Bowl or bust? Or should they, it's whatever you choose. But I think some 49er fans are reasonable. I took calls yesterday talking about this defense, and some are like, I'm not buying it just yet. I'm along for the ride. I'm enjoying every win. It's electric. It's great to watch, but I don't think it's sustainable. Like you and I know 49er fans hate when I make this comparison, but I'm going to. The offense wasn't as prolific, but the 2016 Raiders, you and I both knew that eventually this was going to end. It was fun to watch every week. It was entertaining football, but we knew that defense was a problem. Even though Khalil Mack was Defensive Player of the Year and they were making plays, we knew that eventually when they faced the Patriots or they play the Steelers, they were most likely going to lose. And they had, a really good offense. Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, Derek Carr was in the MVP conversation, but they weren't going to be able to put up 45 points every single game. It was going to stop eventually because in the postseason, you just don't do that. Even the greatest show on turf, the 1999 St. Louis Rams, they didn't score 40 points a game. They had to win defensively. Even the great Joe Montana teams had to win defensively. That 1994 49er team did not score 40 points every single game. Damn near close, but they did not do that. They had to win defensively. So I think a lot of 49er fans are excited, and some are expecting Super Bowl or bust, especially with the Super Bowl at Levi's. But I think some are a little grounded, too, thinking like, I don't know if we could do this. I don't know if it's sustainable for us to win every playoff game 45-35.
Right. And I think, too, that the whole idea of the Super Bowl window, I think that shifted for quite a few people seeing Purdy's play. Because right now you're seeing Ernie too saying just playing with house money at this point. Otis Bird saying the Niners have exceeded expectations so far and not much was expected of them. But I do think there was a sense of dread midway through this year where Mac Jones is playing some pretty good football and you're thinking, oh my God, is Brock Purdy going to be benched? What does that look like going into next season in 2026 and beyond? And even I had that point. But now I think you should feel a lot. I think 49ers fans would feel a lot better going into next season because even if you might not get the same Christian McCaffrey, who knows what will happen with Trent Williams a year from now, even though you might not get those same guys, at least you got your quarterback. Your quarterback's back. Like he's back to being a quarterback who's worth it. That contract, a lot of people were skeptical by it. How can you be skeptical after watching these last 2 games? So I think there's that to add on to it. I do think there's the expectation isn't Super Bowl this year. Maybe it's not, but I don't know, man. It's fascinating because if they are going to be putting up 40 points every week, like, well, I mean, they're going to win.
Yeah, of course. But I see people in the chat right now. I see Tacky saying Derek tucking like he did when he lost that bet to me week 1. You have to remind me what that bet was, Tacky. I know I picked the Seahawks to win that game, but do you guys think this is sustainable? Like I'm being honest. Like I know, and Ernie says too, the NFC is weak. Who can't they beat in the NFC right now, Derek? I hear you guys. I definitely hear you. Where this might be a weird season. You're watching the Rams last night lose to the Falcons. And you're like, well, is their defense any good? I mean, they made a huge play on special teams with Jared Verse blocking that field goal and returning it, but they're inconsistent as well. So is this is it just a weird season where Maybe you don't need a great defense. Maybe you don't need defense at all. Maybe you just outscore teams. I have to judge my opinion based on what we've seen or not just my opinion, but make my opinion based on what I've seen in the past of watching playoff football for many, many years. I know all of you have as well. It's not going to be the same in the postseason. Defenses catch up with offenses. And you guys talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that offensively they look terrible right now, but defensively they look great. And I wonder how that would look if they had to go to Lincoln Financial Field. And with that defense, if the Niners go 3 and out for a first, couple of possessions, can the defense match up with the Eagles offense? And I know the offense for the Eagles doesn't look great, but they still have playmakers. They still have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley, all the names. So I'm just saying, I'm in agreement with you, Steven. They probably do need home field advantage for us to feel comfortable in them making the Super Bowl. But that may not play a factor at all if they don't have a defense. They need to play better defense in order to go to the Super Bowl.
Right. Like Ernie up here said, the NFC is weak and who can't they beat? Well, the sad part is I think the teams that will give you the biggest challenge are the two in your division, like the Seahawks and the Rams. If they somehow manage to avoid those two, like I don't think, I'm not sure about the Eagles. I just don't know. Like, I don't think their offense, I think the 49ers offense is good enough right now to put up at least 21, 24 points. And I just don't know if the Eagles are even putting that up against the 49ers defense. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot going on there, but
yeah,
the Seahawks and the Rams, even though the Rams just lost last night, you're not going to get a lot of Matthew Stafford's 3 interception games. You're not going to get a lot of games where they lose in the fashion that they did to the Seahawks, where the Seahawks managed to get like a punt return for a touchdown and that big play by another big play by Rashid Shaheed with that end around. Like, you're not going to get a lot of games like that, but in the same token, like, the Seahawks came back like that. I think the Seahawks have proven they're a very, very good team. And the NFL thinks as much. Like, I'm looking at power rankings from ESPN. They have the Seahawks up there right now at the very top. Like, this is a good football team. Maybe the Sam Darnold. Yeah, there you go. See, there it is. I'm still not buying Darnold yet until what he does in the offs.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I totally understand
that. The Sam skeptics out there, and I might have to be one of them. But if we're being realistic in the NFC, who can't they beat? It would be the Rams and the Seahawks are the two teams that I would choose.
I think people are sleeping on Philly too. I think that I understand that offensively they've had their struggles this season, and they didn't complete a pass in the second half once again. I think they've had that multiple times this year, but they still are the defending champs. It's kind of like when the Chiefs were sleepwalking through the last few games of the regular season in 2023, and then once they got to the postseason, they just turned it on. That may be the case with the Eagles right now, where if they play this 49ers defense, I have to believe they score more than 24 points.
Right.
I think that who's coming to get Jalen Hurts? Who is, at this point, who is stopping Saquon Barkley? Maybe they could come up with a good game plan as far as the run defense, but I think it would be a tough matchup. I really do. So I know last week I said that the 49ers could be Super Bowl contenders with this offense, and that's still the case. But I was hoping that you'd see something differently, like maybe it was a 27-24 type of game where they make some defensive plays here or there. They got gashed, and that's where I think they're not going to be able to win the Super Bowl if they don't come up with any defense. Now, some teams have turned it on in the postseason with a bad defense. The 2006 Indianapolis Colts were able to do that, but they still had pass rush. They still had Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. I think this 49er team right now looks to me like the Lions of last year or the 2011 Packers with Rodgers as MVP, but their defense couldn't stop anybody. Or even the 2013 Denver Broncos that put up historical numbers as far as scoring points, but they got exposed in the Super Bowl by the Seahawks. So that's where I think, we'll talk about it more on Saturday. You and I are going to do a show right before the Seahawks and 49ers kick off, and that'll be a great game. If they get home field advantage, then it's that much more likely that they get to the Super Bowl. But the defense just gives me a lot of trepidation.
Sure, but that's the beautiful part about football, right? That's why Kyle Shanahan calls it the greatest game in the world. It's why Christian McCaffrey calls it the greatest team sport in the world. It's just This is why 1 week at a time, you take it 1 week at a time. You don't try to think too far ahead, because with all the logic that you're bringing out, all that logic can be just put out, just out the window.
Yeah, of course.
It could be gone. You know what I mean? Like Saturday, who knows? Maybe it's just a low scoring game where neither offense.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Through. You know, like maybe it could trend in that direction.
Well,
so we have to see these games played, but I think ultimately there's no doubt, just absolutely no doubt, they got to win Saturday.
They do.
They just got to win Saturday, and
they
winning, you're in, man.
Yep, win in, they're already in, but yeah, win in, you win the NFC West, and you get the 1 seed in the NFC. And it's the same case as a year ago. Sam Darnold was in the same game where the Lions had a record of 14-2. The Vikings were 14-2. Whoever won that game won the division and got the 1 seed throughout the playoffs. And we were talking about the Lions being a terrible defensive team, and then Alex Anzalone came back and they shut Sam Darnold down. It was Aaron Glenn coming up with these defensive blitzes that scared him, spooked him the entire game, had him seeing ghosts, and the Lions won that game 34-9. And then in the Super Bowl, or the playoffs the next week or 2 weeks later, the Lions, got lost to the Commanders. They got throttled because their defense couldn't stop anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, for this game, maybe Robert Saleh comes up with something where Sam Darnold looks like the Sam Darnold of old. Now, Clint Kubiak knows Kyle Shanahan. It could be where we see a totally different game than what we saw week 1, where the 49ers won 17-13. They still had trouble stopping Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I'm sure that the Seahawks are using Diamador Lenore as bulletin board material this week, saying, I want that smoke, I want that assignment. By all means, man, no one stopped JSN for the most part this entire season, so go for that. But yeah, it's going to be very fascinating to see if Robert Saleh come up with something, because Sam Darnold has played well this season, but at times he looks like the Sam Darnold of old, 100%.
Yeah. But will he not be the Sam Darnold of old?
That's what we'll discuss on Saturday. All right, before we get out of here, let's do some quick hits, talk about Week 17. Speaking of the Seahawks, do you think the Seahawks defense can carry the Seahawks offense, much like the way we're talking about the 49ers offense carrying their defense? You understand what I'm saying there? Is that too convoluted?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I mean, of course they can. But it all depends on who gets the ball at the last play, who gets the last possession of the game. Like, of course, I think they can do that. But if the game lies in their hands, and you got, I don't know, let's just say hypothetically on Saturday night, let's say the 49ers have done enough, but the Seahawks managed to get a last-second score, and you put the ball in the hands of Brock Purdy at the end. I'm taking Brock Purdy, but I'd feel more confident that the Seahawks defense would get a stop than if the Seahawks offense was in the situation with the 49ers where they're down and they got to get a score. So yeah, I do think they are good enough to do that, but I would much rather it's all about the quarterback for them with me. Like it really is.
No, I get it. I think that the Seahawks and Eagles are the few teams in the NFC that play defense right now. And as far as their beatdown of the Carolina Panthers, that game was low scoring. Sam Darnold wasn't playing very well for the first half, and he threw a bad interception in the end zone, but they come away with the win 27-10. Bryce Young was pretty bad at this game. I think at some point he was just, he only threw 54 yards this entire game, 54 yards passing. At one point he had like 16 yards passing, and that was in the fourth quarter. So the fact that this NFC South is going to be determined by Carolina 8-8 and the Buccaneers at 7-9 right now. It's just a joke. But the Seahawks just have that defense, and I know that they gave up 37 points to the Rams, but they're that one team that could turn it on in the postseason, along with the Eagles to me, where the pass rush just gets after people. Their secondary is unbelievable. Their defensive line. So yeah, I do think that they can mask the ineffectiveness of a Sam Darnold.
Sure.
A guy who hasn't played in these big games. He played in the playoffs a year ago and got beat down by the Rams. it was impressive to see him come back against the Rams 2 weeks ago. But until I see it when it matters, like essentially this is a playoff game this Saturday, and then we'll see what happens with the Seahawks after that. But yeah, I got to see Sam Darnold consistently play well in the postseason to believe it. But I am buying that defense.
I am.
I don't know if they can stop the 49ers from scoring 40 points, but I like to think that they can hold them maybe to 30. Is that enough?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, and we reacted to the game. The Seahawks beat the Panthers 27-10. Should the Bucks or Panthers get a home playoff game? Should they be allowed to have this?
God, no. Of course not.
But
it's the rules.
Exactly. That's my thing. Where we're going to bitch and complain about it. The 49ers, is there a scenario where they could be the 5th seed? Yes, they can, right? If the Rams lose?
That's if the Rams lose.
Well, that's not very likely. I think the Rams throttle the Cardinals.
They should.
They should, and Sean McVay's going to play his starters, it sounds like.
Sean McVay was so pissed. I had to get that sound earlier. He's like, it's not just, I'm going to play my starters. It wasn't that. He's looking with that almost 1,000-mile stare that he has, except it's staring 1,000 miles into your soul. Oh, yeah, we're going to play. Yeah, we're going to play. I haven't even thought about it. Yeah, we're going to play. We need to play. Need to play better. I don't know what the consequences of that are. I don't know all the data, but we need to play better.
I like that he said that, and his last 2 press conferences after games, after losses, have just tickled me because he's usually very composed. But the game where they lost to the Seahawks, and he was asked so many questions about the live stream that Puka Nacua was on. At one point, they're asked about. He's asked like, why were those guys allowed on your property? He goes, I don't know about that. And he turns to the PR guy. They're allowed on our property. What's up with that? He turns to the PR guy, and he was like, that was shut down. He goes, I don't know what to tell you about that.
Yeah.
And then another reporter asked Sean McVay, so were you mad at Puka Nacua? I don't know what you're talking about. Because he says on the live stream that Boss Man wasn't happy about you doing the live stream. He goes, did he mention my name? They go, no, he just mentioned Boss Man. He's like, no, wasn't me then. Like it was the most he was pissed about the loss, but also having to answer these questions. And I don't think that the Rams were, this has been a huge distraction with Puka Nacua. It's just that, the Seahawks were able to come back in that game and have a great victory. And then last night, Raheem Morris just knows the Rams offense so well from years, playing with them or coaching with them, I should say, being their defensive coordinator. And he just knew how to beat them. But we'll get to that game a little bit later.
He very much has a little Mike Tomlin in him, Sean McVay, where he doesn't want to be like super direct. He wants to give you as many words as possible, but it could all just be shortened down into like a summarized sentence where Mike Tomlin's answering stuff about DK. Matt, I'm not sure what happened with DK. I know we're fully behind him. I know we're going to look into it, blah, blah, blah. That press conference that you're mentioning, it's not the Puka stuff that made me laugh. It was his reaction to the fumble or the reverse to a fumble. I don't know. I've never seen that before in my life. That's the game, though. You got to deal with it. We take it one play at a time, but I don't know. I've never seen anything like that in this sport that we love, that we all grew up playing. I was born and raised to do this. I have never seen that before, but it is what it is. I've just never seen it.
Okay, everybody, take note. That's how you do a Sean McVay impression compared to Copes's, guys, we're going to go out there and play 110%. That is a very good Sean McVay impression, Stephen. Well done.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
An upgrade over, remember back in the day when we did the Truth Machine where we were doing all the coaching bros and you were Sean McVay?
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't remember what I did for that exactly, but it's all it's very rhythmic the way that they all talk. It's the same thing. Even with I don't know, the Puka Nacua situation. I don't know. I love Puka. I could tell you I love him. Stand up to Jewish hate. And we discriminate against hate in all forms,
Accurate.
Like, dude, Sean, you don't have to mention that, man. That's implied.
Yeah, no, that's where he's just trying to appease everybody in that, where his PR team's like, make sure you say that, because we don't want to make it seem like, we support what Puka did. He's like, of course not. You don't need to say that. Of course not.
Yeah. He dances around it a lot.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not going to listen here. If Copes has an impression, I'm not going to knock that impression.
Oh no, I will. It's a terrible impression. It's a terrible impression.
I'm sure it's good.
You haven't heard it.
Ernie Dew says Copes does a great McVay.
I think it's a little over the top.
Okay.
But we were talking about the Bucks and Panthers. There's a scenario where, with the Falcons winning last night, if they're all tied up at 8-9, this game on Saturday doesn't mean anything. That if the Bucks beat the Panthers still get in because of tiebreakers. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. I don't like. I was going through it this morning. I'm like, what? So the Panthers can lose, but they'll still win the division?
Exactly.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I hear everybody about the complaints. Why should an 8-9 team host a playoff game? I get it. This is something that the Lions voted on in the offseason. Totally understand that. Sorry, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to football. I think there's value in winning your division. And I know it's shitty that a 8-9 team would host a playoff game, but that's just how pitiful that division is. Right. So I like the rules the way it is, or the rules the way they are, where you shouldn't change that. I like the fact that if you win your division, you host a playoff game, even if it does mean potentially the 49ers would have to go on the road to Carolina to face an 8-9 team when they're 12-5. I think that's ridiculous, but it's the rules.
It is the rules. And it's also, but hey, home field advantage can be real, right?
Yeah.
Seahawks.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, think of the Seahawks in 2011?
2010, yeah.
2010, 2011, whatever. Yeah. So you never know, but it is stupid with how it shakes out of the regular season finale.
All right. And then for a true win-and-in scenario, it's the AFC North Division Championship on Sunday Night Football. Do you see the Ravens or Steelers at all contending in the AFC if either win that game?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
More so the Steelers. Because they're without DK Metcalf.
They get him back, yeah.
Games. If they manage to get by a Ravens team that is okay, I don't know. I mean, if they should be getting TJ Watt back for this regular season finale, but I don't know if there's been certain plays where Aaron Rodgers is looking like Aaron Rodgers. There's other ones where that dude from Film Watchers, who's clearly from the East Coast, who makes great content, but then you can hear the accent slip out when he's like, so he's going to run a post. It's great, but he just crapped all over Aaron Rodgers, like blaming him for certain plays. And it's all very detailed, laid out. It's really great. So I don't know. I'd say for right now, I would with the Steelers, but I think the disrespect for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens is just too much, man. It's too much.
Well, they've been mediocre for most of the season. And if they do get Lamar Jackson back for this game, that's huge. It sounded like it might be Tyler Huntley. But if Derrick Henry is going to run like this for the postseason, if they get in again, I have a hard time believing the Steelers will let him rush for 200-plus yards and 4 touchdowns. But if it's the Derrick Henry of old, then that translates to the postseason. But I believe in the Steelers just a little bit more, as you're saying, Steven, where they play defense. Their defense has played better of late. They'll probably get TJ Watt back for this game. We'll see if DK Metcalf is back. They have to win this game in order to have him return from suspension. But yeah, at times both teams have looked terrible, but I probably am more inclined to go with the Steelers. But I could see either of these teams upsetting somebody in the first round. But as far as AFC Championship game, I would be surprised. Now, were you disappointed that Myles Garrett did not get the record-breaking sack against Aaron Rodgers?
I wasn't disappointed by it.
I wanted to see it. If they're going to win the game, you'd think that Myles Garrett would get to Rodgers once, but I do agree with Garrett that I think Rodgers was overly concerned about being the Brett Favre to his Michael Strahan, where he was just, I'm getting the ball out, where he probably could have maybe tried to make more of a play if he gets out of the pocket, but he was so concerned about Myles Garrett getting that record on him. I do agree with him on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel better about the Eagles or the Bills going forward after the Eagles' narrow victory 13-12?
Bills. I still feel better about the Bills. I don't know what it is. I just feel better about them. Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen definitely did not play well in this game. The fumble, it's debatable if that was a fumble in the first place after his long, throw to Brandon Cooks. But the 2-point conversion, I understand why they went for it. It was a wet, soggy field. The missed PAT was the deciding factor. If they scored, it's easy. They just go up by one more point. It's 14-13. It was the right call. It's just that Josh Allen missed him. He missed Khalil Shakir in the left corner of the end zone, and just a bad throw. But I do believe that this Bills defense, kind of like the 49ers, it has better playmakers on their team. They have pass rush. They have Joey Bosa, AJ Epinesa, Gregory Rousseau. Josh Allen can bring this team back in any game. It's rare they get blown out. Even the Texans game, he gets sacked however many times, but they still have a chance to win. Patriots game, the hook and ladder play that they had against the Texans, the hook and ladder play they had in this game when it was 4th down. Josh Allen, he won't win MVP, and I still think that Matthew Stafford should win MVP compared to Drake May, who threw 5 touchdowns against a bad Jets team. But Josh Allen's going to get votes because he just carries this team. He's so damn good. So, yes, I believe in the Bills a lot more than the Eagles, but I will say the Eagles' defense right now is playing by far the best in the NFC. And their offense is putrid. It is. They're not playing well. They didn't complete a pass in the second half, but they're still the defending champions. And until I see them eliminated, I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'm also way more interested in Josh Allen's story. Like, honestly, I'm over the Eagles. I'm just over this. I love Jalen Hurts. I love Devontae Smith, but this whole situation with Nick Sirianni, he's still. We'll give him the respect as a Super Bowl champion, but he's just not a likable coach. Just after every week, it's always some form of drama about, like, it's either AJ Brown, just not getting enough targets, or it's Nick Sirianni just way too brash. And you're seeing that clip going around after that game where he's talking his shit and AJ Brown's just rolling his eyes.
I would too.
I'm tired of them now. Like, they're just boring to me.
No, fair enough. I believe more in the Bills just because of Josh Allen. But again, the Eagles, let's see what happens. They won their division, and let's see what seed they get. Most likely second, because I think at this point the Bears should beat the Lions on Sunday. But we'll see. We'll pick that game on Saturday. And then we talked about it briefly, but do you think less of this Rams team after last night, or still think that they're one of the best teams in the NFC?
I still think they're one of the best. You're just not going to get Matthew Stafford throwing 3 INTs a game. They still came back from a 21-0 deficit. They're still a very, very dangerous team. These last 2 games have been brutal on the referee's side. It was a pass interference.
It was 100%.
It was. It was a pass interference. You can go back and forth all day about that incompletion. The one we mentioned earlier with Puka. It's so hard to call. That one, the replay official on ESPN and both Joe Buck and Troy Aikman seemed pretty sure that it was an incompletion just based on him bobbling that football going out of bounds. It should have been a catch anyway. I don't care. Reward him for it. That would have made it a hell of a lot more interesting. And then they could bring on that one dude, Harris Cleaver or whatever his name is.
Was it Mavis?
Harrison Mevis?
Yeah, Harrison Mavis, the thicker kicker.
Yeah, the thicker kicker. Leave it to Mevis. That would have been interesting. But yeah, these last 2 games, I'm not going to look at these 2 and think the Rams are any lesser of a team. I think their defense is suspect, but they've also got screwed over by the boys in pinstripes.
I would agree. I think it was very impressive. It looked like the Atlanta Falcons game had earlier this year, where the Falcons game earlier this year, where they beat down the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills were able to come back in that game, but still lost. It was very impressive that the Rams were able to come back in that game and tie it up. I thought that it was going to be just a collapse. Not like the Super Bowl, obviously, but when you're up 24-3, it's reminiscent of it. And I thought Raheem Morris may have lost his job today had they lost that game last night. I'm with you. I think the missed opportunity on the Xavier Smith play, I mean, that should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
The pass interference that wasn't called on the next pass. The fact that Matthew Stafford was on the money for 3 straight passes where there was such little time left, but he needed to throw a bomb for them to stay in the game. And then the Puka Nacua catch or non-catch, I watched that play and I was like, damn, that's an unbelievable catch. And then I was half paying attention because I thought it was a foregone conclusion. They give him the completed catch. And then when I hear them say incomplete, I was like, whoa, what happened here? Yeah. I think they got it right just because he didn't maintain possession all the way through of going out of bounds, and you do need that in order to get the catch. It doesn't matter that his feet were in bounds. You have to maintain a catch. And then when he gained possession again was when he lost control of the ball. So I still think very highly of the Rams. It's just they're not going to win the NFC West. I thought they would. After they beat down the Niners later this year, they're going to have to go on the road. And it's going to be very tough for them because if they have to go to Philadelphia or play Seattle again, I don't know how that's going to look. But I still think Stafford's your MVP, and their defense is a little shaky.
You let out a huge fart and blamed it on a quiet girl in middle school?
Say what?
You let out a huge fart, pointed at a quiet girl, and yelled, "It was her," and got sent to the principal's office for it?
Yeah, it was Tanya. Damn it, Andy. You have to tell that story right now? Yeah, my buddy Andy Young is in the chat right now, and he's been dropping some hilarious riffs here. But yeah, I guess the chat asked him, can you tell a funny story about Derek in middle school? Yeah, that definitely happened. I ripped a fart and blamed it on a quiet girl in middle school.
Jeez, man.
And I still regret to this day. Is there another one he's telling right now?
Have you apologized?
Have I apologized to her?
Yeah.
No, I have not, Steven.
What's she doing now?
I have no idea. I'm sure she's having a great life. I hope so. Don't make me feel bad about this.
Well, you don't know about that. You don't know that.
I'm not going to lay awake at night thinking about what happened to Tanya.
What if this is just trauma for Tanya?
Tanyat.
Trauma for Tanyat.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine. What's the other one that Andy's saying here? The other one is when he interrupted class and tried to bribe the teachers with Thunderbucks. Yeah, I told that story on the radio. That definitely happened.
What are Thunderbucks again?
Thunderbucks was this currency that we had in middle school. So we were each, I guess, Andy, what was it? Where in middle school, it was you were Team Thunder or Team Cyclone or whatever, and you would have an end of the year party, and whoever got the most Thunderbucks got prizes. If you didn't have any Thunderbucks, this was like classism in middle school. If you didn't have any, you were sent to in-school suspension because you were bad. So if you didn't have enough currency in the end, we're taking your ass to unemployment or whatever.
Yeah,
it was bad. I didn't like that. So that happened to me a couple times where I didn't have enough money at the end of the year to have a party.
Yeah, and we had the same thing in an elementary school. I forgot what they were called though. They were the same thing though. They were bucks. They were it was fake money, and you would get enough of these bucks. I forgot what they were called. And you could, skip to the front of the lunch line on Fridays, which was chicken nugget days, and everyone loved themselves some Friday chicken nugs. You could get lunch with the principal. What loser spent their bucks on a lunch with the principal?
Yeah. I remember I had to spend in-school suspension during the holiday party with Scarface's stepson. He went to my middle school, and he was in for being a troublemaker. Scarface, a rapper.
Yeah.
He went to our middle school, and he was, a hard kid. He got into some trouble, and I remember being in suspension with him, and he was like, "What are you in for?" And I was like, "I ran out of Thunderbucks." And he was like, "Oh, I did some real shit." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
No tears.
No tears.
Did you? You start rapping with him later on? Was this a Breakfast Club situation where
we didn't rap? I just told him that I enjoyed his dad's album. The Fix was currently out at the time, and I was like, I enjoyed your pop's album, man. My Block's a banger, and he was like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I got this killer up inside of me.
All right, yeah. Before we get out of here, Steven, do we want to play that trailer of the Madden movie?
No.
Come on, why not? Let's play it.
All right, I don't have it.
All right, he's going to look for it real quick.
Yeah.
Before we do that, I do want to acknowledge something that Danny Golding TV asked me in the chat here. Hey, Derek, I didn't get a chance to listen to you on KBR the past couple of days, so my apology if you already addressed this, but do you know if there's any chance your dad might return? I'm assuming he's talking about for the 49ers this year. Yeah, my dad was supposed to do the game on Sunday night, and unfortunately, I think people get the misconception that he's over his illness because he's coming back. He is not. And he was a little under the weather this week. I saw him last Wednesday on Christmas Eve, and he had a little bit of a cold, and I asked him, are you okay? Should you be doing this? And he was like, I'll be fine. I'll be completely honest with all of you. I was not in favor of him coming back this soon. I think my dad needs to prioritize his health. I understand that it's been a very fun 49ers season, and he wants to be a part of it, but his health needs to be his priority. And I know that he's a broadcaster, and that's his job, but he's much more than that. He's a father, so I think he needs to make that his most important thing right now. So if he comes back, fantastic, but I want my father to be 100% healthy. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. So we'll see what happens, but I think you guys all understand that. I think 49er fans understand that. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not going to make any promises that he's coming back this year.
All right. So Madden.
Yes.
You going to be in the movie?
What's up?
You going to be in the movie?
My pops? Probably not.
Yeah. Come on. He was in Moneyball, sort of.
You definitely saw him for 2 seconds in Moneyball and heard his voice. But this came out Christmas Day. Here is the trailer for the new Madden movie starring Nicolas Cage.
There's only one John Madden. They didn't make another one. He is one of a kind. Football wouldn't be football without him.
I have no idea where we are, who we are, where we're coming from, or who we're throwing to.
Very interesting.
Now, it's more of a teaser. That's coming out next year, Thanksgiving. David O. Russell's the director. He did like Three Kings back in the day and The Fighter. Pretty good director. Kind of a weird guy. A lot of allegations against him. And also, have you heard the story of George Clooney and him get into a fist fight on the set of Three Kings?
No.
Yeah. People either love working with him or people think he's an asshole. But so he's directing this movie, and I don't know, dude. Like, I think Christian Bale nails it as Al Davis. I think that's
so good.
He spot on. And when I saw the casting for him, I thought, okay, he's going to do a great job. Even like the way he talks, the way he moves his mouth, it's very much like Al Davis. So I think he knocks it out of the park there. We see a little glimpse of Nicolas Cage as John Madden. He's doing the classic clip where he's on the whiteboard. They have no idea what we're doing here. They have no idea what we're doing here. That's all we get. It may be good. I have no idea. I can't really judge it off of this 30-second teaser trailer.
I'm out already.
You're out already? Come on now.
It's Nicolas Cage, man. Did you hear that explanation? It sounded like Nicolas Cage in his voice. You're going to run a play here, play here, play here. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence in a fat suit.
Yeah. I think that the voice there sounded a little Madden-esque, but it's not going to be like Caliendo doing it. It's not going to be a caricature of John Madden.
Well, why not? You're making a movie about him.
Yeah, but it has to be more than just an impression. Like when Adam McKay was making that movie with Christian Bale as Dick Cheney, he didn't get Will Ferrell to be Dick Cheney. He wanted to be an actor, not an impression, but a portrayal.
Yes, but this is John Madden we're talking about.
I know.
It's a voice. It's not yes, it's the personality as well, but it's the voice that really separates him, I think. And
I get that.
You don't get the voice right, then I don't. And by the way, this movie's brought to you by Prime Video, so it's going straight to streaming. Yeah,
that's the part where I'm like, why is this not getting a theatrical release? That's where this might be, even though it's David O. Russell and he's been an accomplished director in the past, and there's really big names attached to this. You got John Mulaney's in there playing the head of EA Sports. Shane Gillis is playing looks like a Raider fan.
Catherine Hahn's awesome.
Yeah, Catherine Hahn.
I don't have much of a problem with anyone else except for the actor who is playing the titular character.
Yeah. Yeah, it could go either way for me. It could be fun. It could be entertaining. It could be terrible.
Who's going to play Mark Davis? Is anyone going to play Mark Davis?
I don't think we're going to see Mark Davis in this movie.
That's a shame.
But I do wonder how much of it's going to be his coaching days. If it's going to be brief, are we going to see a lot of Christian Bale as Al Davis? I think this movie is more so about him, lending his name to a video game.
Right. And that's going to be a lot of it. I think what you saw in the teasers, just like with any trailers, most of that is just going to happen in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, probably.
Where it's going to probably open up with Al Davis talking about John Madden, and then it's going to go show. I bet you that's what it's going to be. Actually, the first scene of the movie is Al Davis talking to whoever. Say, you're going to be the greatest at whatever.
Yeah,
and then it's going to go cut right to Madden, who's doing all that shit with Pat Summerall. Like, I guarantee you that's what the opening scene is going to be.
Probably. I just hope they get this right, because Andy will tell you, I've always wanted to make like a movie about the Raiders, like a mini series, and have big time actors play Ken Stabler and Gene Upshaw and John Madden and Al Davis. And this is different, but John Madden is a beloved figure in football and I think just pop culture in general. Like, Andy will tell you, like, we grew up watching the Mad TV sketch where it's Frank Caliendo as, hey folks, John Madden here with a popcorn popper. And that translates to people that don't even like sports. People that love video games, that just play Madden. And he's a beloved, character in the Bay Area, living here, being on KCBS for years, Steven. So They have to get this right. They have to honor the man and not just make it a fun, goofy movie about John Madden.
Right. So I don't know, man. I just can't do it with Nick Cage. I just can't. And I don't know if I would have been able to do it had Will Ferrell actually been cast as Madden, or Hugh Jackman, who was apparently the other guy they wanted to do this movie.
No way. Really?
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman.
I can't see that at all, man. I think Nicolas Cage is more appropriate than Hugh Jackman.
Nicolas Cage is the third choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackman was like, no thanks, I got to do that movie about Neil Diamond, whatever that's coming out. Right?
Sorry, I want to be a singer. I don't want to be Jordan Midden. Who's Jordan Midden?
Apparently that movie's actually doing well with reviews right now.
Really?
Apparently. Sing Song Blue?
Yeah. No, didn't get as much notoriety as old Chalupa Supreme.
Chalupa Supreme?
Marty Supreme, sorry.
Oh, Marty Supreme. Chalupa. Is that what he looks like to you?
No, it's just anytime I think Supreme, I think of Chalupa Supreme and a Cutlass Supreme.
From Tenacious D. Yeah, I got you.
Come on,
yeah, no. My buddy Andy was telling me the other day in a group chat we have that it's actually really good. So I probably will get along. I'll probably get around to watching Marty Supreme maybe the next couple of days here to go see it in theaters.
I saw it the other day. It's fantastic, I think.
All right, we'll save that review for a little pop culture catch-up. Come Saturday when we'll be back on here and we'll do a little pregame for 49ers and Seahawks, get you ready for Week 18 in the NFL. Not a great slate because a lot of games don't have playoff implications, but we'll focus on the big ones. To everybody in the chat, thanks to my man Andy Young. Love you, buddy. Thanks to Tacky. Thanks to Rocka New Era. Thanks to Don Peralta. Thanks to Otis Bird is the word. Thanks to nicely done there, Steven. Thanks to Pat H. Thanks to Ernie One. Thanks to, I think, Skills, AJ Cruz. I think I mentioned everybody. Jesse, Danny Golding. If I didn't mention you, I think that's everybody. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Steven, say what you always say.
Yeah, it's just our opinion, man. What am I doing? It's just our opinion, man, dude.
Is that Cage?